Live from the Carl Chevrolet Studios in West Des Moines, this is Iowa Live.
Welcome back to the program, everybody. And of course, we are at the beginning of a new month, and it's just that special time of the year when the new edition of the Iowa History Journal comes out. Michael Swanger, the owner and publisher of the Iowa History Journal, joining us. Hello, sir.
Good morning, Lou. Great to see you as always.
Good to see you as well.
Happy early 4th.
Yeah, exactly. Tomorrow being the 4th of July, but we have the July-August edition of the Iowa History Journal, which will give you a little bit more insight as the history of the state of Iowa. So where are we going to start? What's the cover story here this week?
Well, summertime is fair time, and there's really no better time to talk about Jessie Field Shambaugh because she is the mother of 4-H.
Okay.
And as Iowans know, especially a lot of rural Iowa kids who were involved with 4-H, this is a big time of year for them, and that name is synonymous with 4-H. She was born in 1881 in Shenandoah on a farm near Shenandoah, and she became a teacher there in the area, and she worked for Page County Schools where she eventually became a superintendent, but she's the one who started after-school programs for boys and girls in her classes that became the impetus for 4-H.
Really?
And that's how the program began to take off, and then it just spread nationally. But she had a huge role in pioneering that program and improving the lives of rural Iowans and really citizens across our nation. Later on, she worked for the YWCA as the national secretary. She wrote books. She was just a tremendous advocate for rural life. And so I think anyone who's been involved with 4-H knows
Which
the
a
name.
lot have been, yeah.
We know it's huge across our state. And what better time to delve into her history than this time, because as you know, 4-H kids are very busy competing at their county fairs to advance to the state fair. And we know that a lot of those projects involve history. And so even if you're older now, you're a parent or a grandparent, maybe you have a son or a daughter or granddaughter or grandson in 4-H, this is a great way to learn more about the roots of the program and about the mother of 4-H.
Well, how about that? And how about that? You get the information about this, and then you can tell your grandchildren about the person that really started 4-H, what we now know as 4-H.
That's right. Yeah, she's a big figure in Iowa's popular history, and I don't think she gets enough credit, quite frankly.
All right,
so
well, maybe this will change it a little bit.
We're hoping it does.
All right, now, speaking of history, there is something that is around here that has been reborn the last few years, and a place that you said you used to visit as a kid.
I did. I have fond memories of when I was a child in the early to mid 70s visiting Riverview Amusement Park on the Des Moines River on Des Moines' north side.
Right.
I think anyone who grew up in this area, or really Iowans in general, because they would pull Iowans and people from across the country to visit.
Look at this. Look at all these photos here. This is going to be very cool. The wild mouse. You said that's one of your favorites, right?
So one of my favorites, yeah. I'm sure I was a little dizzy a few times getting off that ride.
Now, is that the one that had the roller coaster car that looked like it was going to go off the edge?
Exactly.
Into the lagoon?
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's part of the lore of that ride.
Okay.
That there was always a long time rumor that the car had gone off. One car actually did go off, but no one died in it. But for a long time, that was the rumor when you were standing in line. And trust me, when you were a kid, back then for me in the early 70s, that story stuck with you. But it was the Coney Island of Iowa from 1915 to 1978, and it was just a tremendous amusement park with a great history. And of course, folks know that the park is still the history of the park is on display, and you could walk that area through the island, Nature Island.
Yeah, and they've
read
revitalized it. Put a concert stage there. By the way, the free music is happening again this Friday. Toaster is going to be on stage, and fireworks afterwards.
Yeah, it's a great place to visit. I'd encourage everyone to at least stop and read the history or pick up.
And see some of the pieces, too. They have some of the parts.
Exactly.
Some of the pieces of Riverview are there at the park itself.
Exactly.
All right, very cool. Now, what else are we going to talk about that's inside the latest edition of the Iowa History Journal?
Well, we're also featuring a story on the Sioux City Railroad, which is a wonderful interactive museum on the western part of our state. And they have over 5,000 artifacts on 32 acres. There's a look at the big iron that they feature. But it's one of the more interesting museums in our state because it's so interactive. They have folks who speak throughout the grounds and give an oral history, and they have a lot of artifacts. They even have a an exhibition devoted to the Holocaust. So that's very interesting. And then I also devoted my column to former Major League Baseball umpire Don Denkinger, who recently died. He's a Cedar Falls native.
Okay.
He umpired 31 seasons, more than 3,800 games.
Wow.
And including 4 World Series. A lot of folks remember the call that he missed in 1985 with the Cardinals-Royals series, but his career was much, much greater than that, and so was his character. And that's what my column is about, is his character and his outstanding record that I think gets lost sometimes and overlooked by baseball fans.
Awesome. Now, if you want to get a copy of the latest edition of the Iowa History Journal, Michael, where can we find it?
Barnes & Noble, Hy-Vee, Walmart, Beaverdale Books. Go on our website, iowahistoryjournal.com.
There you go. Perfect. Great edition as always, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it, and we appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us. Have a very happy 4th of July, and we will see you back here on Wednesday for another edition of Iowa Live.